Neighbors, groovers, good day, good afternoon, good evening. It is your favorite neighbor, Mr. LP, right here with the mighty NPN Network. We have another episode, a dope episode, edition action of The Neighbor's Way. So today I interviewed my homie, my man, my good friend, Marcellus Womack. We talk about his book, The Savage Matrix, Smacking Fire Through the Dark Side of Greatness. This book is very good. Still reading it, still taking it in, but I really advise for y'all to go check this book out. It is a very great book. That's the first part. And then the second part, we bring on two dynamic sisters. You will know them. Traci Evans with Meow and Barks and Merdice Evans-Price. She's a corporate extraordinaire, and they sit with us and we talk about the savage of the rap culture. So we talk about hip hop, rap music, and all the things culture wise and the archetypes that exist from the book that we just talked about. So sit back, relax, share this with your folks. It's The Neighbor's Way, y'all. Here we go. What's up? Mic check 1, 2. To my people, what's happening? Mr. LP with The Neighbor's Way, the NPN Network, the mighty NPN Network. Hopefully everybody's doing great. And hopefully things have just been rocking well since the last time y'all watched one of my videos. So thank you so much for hitting play. Please remember to hit subscribe on the Neighbor's Way YouTube page. Make sure you follow the NPN Network on Instagram. Make sure you follow me on Instagram as well, MRALPETE, and all the great things. Follow the Neighbor's Way on Instagram as well. But yeah, check out the past interviews that we've had, the cool conversations that we've been having with some of the people who I truly admire. And this interview right here today is nothing shorter than that. It's actually kind of magnificent, man, because this book, matter of fact, let's not even get on the book just yet. First off, let me introduce my brother, Marcellus Womack. What's happening, my good sir?
What's going on, LP? It's a pleasure to be in the Neighbor's Way, man. So I'm with it.
Man, listen, first off, we have like this highly respect for each other that I appreciate. So I want to thank you and just send massive gratitude to all of the words and inspiration that you have bestowed onto me in my walks and my journeys and whatnot. And this book that you have out, the Savage Matrix. This book is just another extension of you and how you look at things, and it brought me to understand you a lot more, but it also brought me to understand myself more. So I want to say thank you and gratitude to you before we get started in this. I appreciate you and everything that you do.
No, I appreciate you, man. So you for sure are a savage. I know we're gonna break down the different types of savages, man. I got my pick that you're definitely one of them, man, and there's a test to take for the people watching. But yeah, no doubt.
So let me say this correctly. It's the Savage Matrix, smacking fire through the dark side of greatness. Let's say the whole thing. All right, let's say the whole thing. Let's go to the fact that you said that I'm a savage. So of course, when you think about the word savage, people automatically think, I guess negative. But depending on the type of person that you are, you might not think of it as negative, but it has a negative connotation to it. And you said that I'm a savage, so I'm curious to know what makes me a savage in your eyes.
For sure. So to define the Savage Matrix as it relates to this book and this concept, the Savage Matrix I define as the limitless realm to your most dominant state of being. And to be a savage is to be defined as an undeniable force of greatness and gangster. So we have different archetypes for that I break down in the book. And you have 4 of them. One is the hustler, the pimp, the stripper, and the pitbull. So one of those, LP, you would be. I think everyone has greatness in them. Everyone has a fire within them, and tapping into that dark side in a very positive way. I think there are a lot of beautiful things that come out of the dark. Our universe is 95% dark energy and dark matter, and we as a people in our culture, to call us black and black excellence and greatness and everything that evolves from us is the alpha and omega to humanity. There's a lot of beauty in that, so I think people can embrace savage and within hip hop. We embrace that term a lot, and a lot of symbolism, a lot of metaphorical elements there. But to question of which savage you are, it will be based on, the primary question is which goal is a person most wired to pursuing. And so a hustler, based on this framework, is based on pursuing the goal of money. They are superior deal makers. Every conversation quickly turns into monetizing, and they have a knack for it. And we know, I'm sure, a lot of people in our culture community that do that. The pimp is wired towards pursuing power. So they have a strong ability to control rooms that they're in. Their superpower is the ability to be able to to really be able to create fantasies. So that our leaders in our community, they can really sell a vision. And there's a divine element to each of these. Then you had a stripper. That's the one that I get the most laughs. People get interested when they hear
Right,
that. They're like, "We're going to
right.
Magic City with it. What we doing with it?" And that's really it's stripper is, and all of these are acronyms. But stripper is synonymous with a superstar. So they are able to, their superior energy is being able to captivate audiences. They have an incredible talent, and they looking to showcase that talent, and that whether it be entertainment, whether it be, being a great public speaker, so many other things. And then lastly is the Pitbull, and that is the one that's most wired towards results. So they are incredible at executing a mission. Their superpower is being able to have supreme focus. So when I look at that, I look at an Al Pete. And the beautiful part is, in our evolution in life, a lot of times we have to tap into each one of those bags, for different things. Sometimes we got to be on our money, movement. Other times it's power. Other times it's the status and superstardom. Other times it's the results. I would say though, man, Al Pete, man, with all the things that you do, you have a certain humbleness to you. You have a certain get active element to you. Everything you do is professional, is on point, and it doesn't look like you look for the attention. Even though you have a great brand, doesn't look like you're overly trying to, run the table with money, even though you secure bags. Last weekend you did like 4 events and you was DJing and they were all paid.
Right,
So
right,
you know how
right.
to get it in. And even though you're a leader, you are definitely, man, a strong advocate in our community. You represent so many spaces between youth empowerment, between media and communication, between entertainment. But I would say, man, you're a pit bull. I eventually, if you took the Savage Matrix test, I think your results would say Pitbull. I think that you are ultimately wired towards results. You know how to focus and lock in, and all you got to give you your resources. You like, man, give me the target. What we supposed to hit? What we supposed to do with it? And you're gonna go get it just like a Navy SEAL. In terms of your skill set. So, what would you say based on your read and
I took the test. I took the test twice, and I got both results as the pit bull. So, I definitely resonated with the pit bull aspect. But when I was reading the book, I noticed that you gave references to if you had all of the architects. We pull them out from time to time, and if you know how to work them well, that you would be considered a kingpin. Correct?
for sure, for
And
sure.
so I started digging a little bit more in my thoughts and thinking like, have I utilized these other components, you know what I'm saying, and such way. And I don't know. I'm doing a little bit more searching on that, but the Pitbull aspect, it definitely resonates with me. Yeah, I just laughed when I heard it. I mean, when I saw the results, and even when I read it, I just kind of understood. Like the words that stuck out to me was execute, target, getting close to the target or whatever. And I think about me being a producer and being an executor, basically. Like I'm like somebody saying, "Hey, we could sit here and power and talk about these things," but I'm like, all right, so what's the goal? Like, what's the purpose? What's the goal? Let's get to it, and let's strategically find a way to get locked in, eye to eye, and then just really focus on it. So, real quick, I want to talk about. I want to give the acronym specifically with Pitbull. Now, I will say being the fact that I resonated more with Pitbull, I stayed on that part a little bit more. But I did visit
what I found too? I found that of all the people who've taken the test that I've known, almost 50%, almost half are pit bulls.
Okay.
So I think there's a energy to humanity. There's a certain empowerment to the grind culture that I think we've embraced within our culture, including even hip hop. And I think by default, people ideally look to being able to be a good person that can make things happen. So what you're speaking to with the pit bull, I think will speak to most people who take the test.
Gotcha. Oh, it's a part on here that you just mentioned. I don't even want to butcher it, but here it is. Real quick, I'm gonna do the acronym because you have acronyms for each archetype, but I'm gonna read the one from Pitbull. Pitbull, persevering, intense, tough-minded, brave heart, unleashing, limitless, light force. And I remember reading this and thinking that all of these things fit me. Right now, tough-minded is like mine. Like, everybody says that I'm like stern, stoic, that type of thing. So I relate that to tough-minded or whatever. So you really, really hit the points on these as well as the other ones, man. You did a absolutely great job on that. But let me get to this point here that you mentioned. Doing my outside research, and you said you can and should be a good person, but you got to have some nasty, ferocious, and relentless within you to get the job done and win, which isn't always pretty. There's no other way to describe it but savage. Talk about that. Let's in the podcast world, let's unpack that.
No, for sure. I referenced in that chapter in the NBA, it was the Spurs. They were playing a playoff game.
Okay.
And it was Coach Popovich, I think, Spurs with Tony Parker, Tim Duncan. They were down, and he was kind of doing his regular coaching in the timeout, and he was trying to get some more energy out of them. And he was like, the bottom line, like, I need more nasty. I need more nasty. Like, y'all moving the ball, y'all swinging it, y'all doing everything, but I need some nasty. And I think that to be ferocious, to be relentless, to be dominant in energy, we only have one problem. All of us, me, you, Al, Pete, everybody watching, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, Oprah, Jeff Bezos, whoever. Like, the only problem we have is I want something and something's in the way. If you think of any challenge, it's I want something and something's in the way of it. And so it takes it takes that persevering intensity wired towards a pit bull, but also relates to some other archetypes as well. And it takes digging into that fire. And I share this analogy with you because a pit bull taps into this. And that's why I think it's great that you bring it up because it's a foundation to being able to achieve anything. But then we have to be able to turn that pit bull and be like, man, can I, secure the bag, and can I go from this level of income or revenue to that? Same with leadership in terms of a pimp, and sometimes it could be I need to turn up and be my rock star self. But I would share this. Imagine that you rocking at your party. I'm sure you booked this weekend, to rock out. So let's say you're at a party, it's fire, it's everything, and your head catches on fire some sort of crazy way. And yes, it's a pool party, so it's out by pool. Like, Al Pete, is there anything that would stop you from jumping into that pool and putting out that fire on your head? Is there anything that would stop you from doing that?
No.
Nah, you're going to put that fire out immediately.
Yeah, by any means.
Yeah, stop the set. You know what I'm saying? Whatever's going on, I'm gonna put this fire out.
Yeah.
And I think that's the exact same thing. We talk about that Pitbull energy and that savage energy. It's, man, when we have a dream in our heart and our spirit and our soul that's on fire, like when we jump into that, into our soul to tap into that dream and put it out the same way, game over.
Yeah.
Put it out, but put it out into the world. You got a podcast. I know it takes a lot, especially with all the things that you do, to be able to build a platform, to put everything in place, and to consistently put out the neighbors way the way that you do. That was a dream of yours. And
Yeah.
I love when people are living their dreams. Like a lot of times we think, oh, it's got to be winning a Grammy or, being casted in Marvel or being able to say I got $10 million or whatever. Like all that is beautiful, and we should pursue whatever goals we want based on whatever journey we take in our Savage Matrix, journey. But man, we live in a dream. You having this platform, you being able to rock out, as a DJ, you being able to create music, and all the things that you do, man, business beyond. And I think everybody who's watching, um, they are doing something special. Whether you're a parent, that ain't nothing more special than that.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing in your career, or if you're in a space of transition, tap into that dream inside. As the shirt says, man, that impossible, take off that I am and turn that impossible to inevitable. And very possible. So yeah, we all got a dream. I think we all superheroes deep inside, and that pit bull will persevere. That's the main thing. And if you know you're a pit bull, if you take that test and that's you, then you lock in and you never give up. No warning, no remorse, one shot, one kill. All you need
Indeed.
is the target, and you go get it. So know that about yourself, and go get it.
Right, right, right. It was one of them quotes that you mentioned in the book. I forgot who said it, but it was like, was it one shot, one kill, second shot, just to make sure?
Yeah, yeah. I reference a lot of Navy SEAL, man, just energy, because I'm somewhat fascinated with the discipline of it. Not
Oh,
that I'm just advocating for war and military action and stuff like that, but they don't really have these lofty dreams. When I read and research them, it's not like, oh, we got this mission, this is my dream come true. They're like, you know what? They don't have really dreams. They have targets.
right.
And then I got this target. I got to get from point A to point B, neutralize. And yeah, I take all the emotion out of it. And that's kind of how pit bulls move a lot of times. To achieve a goal and to overcome a challenge, you got to strip the emotions, get to a point of neutrality. And it is what it is. It takes what it takes, which is a good book that references some of these things too. So, yeah.
Definitely. Definitely. So I want to talk about the darkness, the dark side, the greatness, right? Um, that was a great analyzation. I love how you started off with. I love how you first off. I love how you storytell. You give us a point of reference, and then you follow into the philosophies of what you've learned and what you want to instill in the people that's reading this book. And then you quote as well. The quotes were very powerful, matching and whatnot. But then you gave like some data. So we talked about the darkness, and you mentioned NASA, and you gave that one. And when I read that data, it was like 97% like of the world is like in this darkness, and it brought like this it brought some like introspect to me, and thinking like how we're always existing in the dark, as well as shouts out to PK. Her quote on that, where she said, I got on my notes, it said, "The shadow is your hitter."
hmm She's told me that. But shout out to Pakila Riley. She's the founder of Salon PK, well-renowned
Yeah.
salon and True and Pure Texture. This amazing brand for texture extensions. Yeah, she's told me that personally. She's been like, when we're in the trenches, she's got an amazing team. I'm glad to be a part of it as a brand strategist. And she's been like, oh, it's go time. And like, the shadow is your hitter. Like sometimes you'll be like, you're my shadow. Like we
Ah.
need to get it in. And if you
Yeah,
think of a
yeah.
shadow, it's a mirroring of you. It's dark. And it's whatever you do is going to move in that way, but it's going to it reflects you in that darkness. And I think, one of the main quotes that I share in the book is your greatest savior is your inner savage transforming in the dark.
Yeah.
So the dark is, like you said, 95% of our universe is dark energy or dark matter. And when we're in spaces of huge challenge, it can feel like darkness. But that's where, man, for 9 months before we were born, we were in a dark womb. You know what I'm saying? So things are birthed out of that darkness. And in that challenge, and that darkness is something to embrace. I have something that's called like the rubber band effect that I share in that book too.
Yep.
And it's like when it's a dark place and things are going bad, you feel like you're just behind the eight ball in every way. And I share for people to think of it like a rubber band. And you probably like me used to pop rubber bands when we were young in class or something. But like when you pull a rubber band back, and one quote that I share: "If you can't break down what can't be broken." So if you keep pulling this rubber band back, and that's an analogy for if life is pulling you back, um, can got downsized, behind on your bills, could have lost a loved one, just dealing with some level of racism, sexism, whatever that is pulling you back like a rubber band. The further you pull me back, the harder I snap back.
For sure.
So if you keep pulling back, pulling back, and pulling back, and pulling back, at some point the law of motion has to respond with an equal opposite reaction. And when you let go, pull me back, the farther I go, the faster I get there, and the harder I hit upon impact. So it's really the obstacle is the way. Embrace that darkness, embrace that challenge, embrace, what may seem like a negative thing, and really reprogram your mind to see the extraordinary impact that you have in that and snap back.
The
Rubber
bounce
band
back
effect.
is real. The bounce back is real. The bounce back is real. Yeah. So I just thought that was great that you explored that part before you got into got into like the archetypes or whatever. It definitely gave a perspective. And it made me think personally, like thinking about my darkest moments or even welcome in the dark. Like it's been plenty of times where I've been like, you know what? This is my time to be quiet. And when I say be quiet, meaning like, let me just sit still, let me get into a good space and just be like, all right, this is the darkness that's coming over me so I can be able to hear a little bit more, hear things clearer, be able to think a little sharper or whatnot. But it was just really good that for my people that's listening, please go get this book. It's very great introspective thought in regards to like being in the darkness and being able to pull out your characteristics and identifying what archetype you are, or identifying the characteristics of each one to be that supreme person or be the superhero that you reference so much in the book, man, which was great too. And you named a lot of like, I mean, we in hip hop, so you named a lot of people, you referenced a lot of people, Rakim, KRS-One, seeing the picture with you and Nas, and just beautiful stuff, man. But I think this book is definitely something for people to get on and get with the business. Hold on one second, Marcellus. You got Traci calling in.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that conversation. So I'll let them know that we're gonna get in there shortly. But I'll even share that KRS-One has a quote that I love. It's one of my top quotes in life, and he said, "Anything that you give to a God is good for a God."
Yes, man.
So when we talk about
Yes,
these
man.
challenges, like whatever happens, you can give me this job or not give me this job. I can make $1 million with this business or lose a whole lot of money. Like any way you give it to me is good because I know how to be an alchemist. I know how to transform and take, rubble and make it into gold. I can take trials and tribulations and turn them into triumph. I can take adversity and turn it into the biggest accomplishment ever. And that's what we do. So as long as we kind of really tap into that fire and that frequency to understand that we're limitless, and we have that higher power within us, like it's go time. It's all active energy, to make it happen. And when you empower yourself like that, then that's that savage that you tap into, to do it and make it happen. So
Gotcha. Well, one more question before we get into our second segment. Marcellus, we're gonna have to have you back, man. We gotta have some. If you don't mind, I would love to have more
I'm
in-depth
with it, man.
conversations on camera as well as off camera because for the weeks that I've been reading this, a lot of things just been resonating with me. But I think this week in particular, I had to like really focus on like the Pitbull. But I want to know a little bit about each one in particular. The Hustler one, you told a story about Chris Freeman.
Hmm.
The Is it the book that he wrote? It's a dope black boy to rich black man.
So we co-wrote a book. Shout
Okay.
out to Chris Freeman. He is a client that became a great friend to this day. So yeah, a lot of people know him for. He had a business called Beautiful Hair for You. It was hair extensions. I had a homegirl who told me, she was like, "Man, when I moved to Jacksonville a couple of years, she was like, it's this guy got this fire hair. He's selling out the trunk." And I'm like, "That's a word." And then I heard that he was, a major like D-boy. He was really doing his thing. He had spent some time, but I was like, okay, wow, you got a business and he's, doing his thing. But he did phenomenal. He ended up taking over pretty much the state of, not only the city of Jacksonville, but the state of Florida. And so when I saw him, and I had worked with other beauty supply, stores who were owned by people outside of our community. And when I connected with this brother, I was like, I'm gonna put all my energy in this industry into him and see where that can go. And he ended up scaling his business to like 14 locations, across the U.S. And he is a hustler. So his mindset, same thing he was doing, at his height in the streets, he, was making $50,000 profit, you know. But I knew in our culture, growing up Southside Chicago, I saw that talent and I was like, man, they're doing that, but they didn't get the opportunity or didn't learn a way to put that into real estate or other forms of entrepreneurship. But I was like, if they were to get a chance, there's no way in the world they wouldn't excel. So I love his story because he did, and we worked together. And still to this day, we connect. He has a real estate construction company, Beautiful Homes for You. But it's the same skill sets. He knew how to buy low, sell high. He knew how to get an international connect for low. He knew how to advertise and market. In the street, he knew how to turn up. To have that energy where people were attracted to him. And he couldn't use billboards or radio commercials for the product he was selling in. He surely can now. So when he had all the tools, nobody can keep up with him. He's a phenomenal story, and salute to him.
Indeed, indeed. Well, listen, we have Marcellus Womack here. We're going to go into our second section where we're going to bring two prolific young women on, and we're going to have a conversation, and it's about one of my favorite topics, hip hop. So stay tuned. We'll be right back
And let
for
me
the
tell your
Duval people.
listeners to go to thesavagematrix.com to take the test. The test is free. You're
Yeah.
gonna definitely want to get the book after that, which is on the site too. It's on Amazon, all of that. But thesavagematrix.com. You're a hustler, you're a pimp, you're a stripper or a pit bull, and you'll find out in 2 or 3 minutes after taking that test. It'll open up a whole new realm to your most dominant state of being.
And you're gonna get
As a
that book.
savage.
You're gonna get that book, and you're gonna dive in. So trust me, y'all. So yes, we'll be bike Duval style, back for the world. All right, neighbor's way.
What if the story we tell about mental health is all wrong? I'm Dominic Lawson, and this is Mental Health Rewritten, a narrative podcast where small behaviors reveal bigger truths. We blend raw storytelling with clinical insight to explore the systems, silence, and stigma behind our struggles. Listen now on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
What's up, my people? Mr. Al Peets with the mighty MPN Network. We are bike Duval style, back for the world. Real quick to my people, that's what I say. With Duval, we be like bike. So I always say bike for Duval, but I say back for the world. So that's my little slang that I say. But nevertheless, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed the conversation that we had before, part 1. Part 2, we are here with Lovely, lovely ladies that I respect so much, so much, individually and collectively. They're so dope. And we're going to be talking about music. This section here is going to be the savage in rap culture. So before we get started, we have Marcellus Womack here, but I want the ladies to introduce themselves because they're dope.
I'm Traci Evans, owner of Meow and Barks Boutique, clothing store here in Jacksonville, Florida, in the heart of the city in San Marco. And we're also online. So I'm all about that fashion, all about that rap, hip hop culture. It raised me. So I'm excited tonight to start this conversation up with you guys.
Indeed.
And hi, my name is Merdice Evans-Price, and I'm a farm executive for Johnson & Johnson, and just have been a music lover for all of my life, and really excited about this conversation and where it's going to go.
So real quick, real off the cuff question: who was the biggest hip hop fanatic out of Traci and Merdice? Who was the biggest one? because I've had conversations with y'all individually, and both of y'all are very knowledgeable. Y'all know y'all music. So who's the biggest one?
I'm probably gonna say I'm gonna claim it, right? I'm not just gonna allow for the throne to be there and not come in like a Pitbull and claim that thing. I'm gonna claim it. I think only because I'm still out here with the kids. I'm still trying to see what the kids are listening to. I have a 19-year-old, so I'm still out here in this hip hop generation where Merdice has kind of slowed down a little bit. I think she picked her genre and she's there over there, and I'm just rocking with everybody.
Yeah, I can give her that. I will say that she's probably more in tune with the hip hop culture than I am, but I like all genres of music. And I can say that oftentimes when we're in the car, I have Shazam on and I'm pressing, what is this song? So I can go back and listen later. So I'll give her that.
Gotcha.
And I've seen them. I just weigh in. When I gotta pay homage to these ladies because these are queens. They are phenomenal. Traci, I've had the pleasure of being able to connect and work with her with an incredible boutique. So I just share that when women are in Jacksonville or at Essence Fest, where she has one of the greatest, activations, there and providing that fashion. A Friday, you go up in Meow and Barks Boutique, it feel like a party. It feel like a day party that's transitioning in a happy hour. And, you feel that hip hop energy there. So Traci gives that and just phenomenal. But every so often, you can go in there on a Friday and you can catch Merdice in there. And you know that's going to be on another level. It's going to be a conversation that's going to go somewhere crazy. It's in a phenomenal way that's going to change your life. You still got all the fashions and you might have some of the spirits, some of Issa Rae's latest drink, to sip on or whatever's the latest in our culture. And every so often when there's something major going on in our community or, Traci has been a leader for some huge causes that kind of elevate our people and our culture, you may find Al Pete back there spinning. And when you get there, it's it's similar. For anybody who's seen Sinners, there's a scene. I'm not even gonna blow it up, but there's one scene that's everything to me, where it's like it's the jig joint of the jig joint. And I've had a moment in Meow and Barks Boutique, which you spinning out Pete with Merdice and other beautiful ladies, and it felt just like that. It was a moment I could watch that movie and loop it for 2 hours and just watch that scene. It was so moving. But that's kind of the feel good energy that Traci has created with her brand with Meow and Barks Boutique. And her sister there, who is a corporate savage phenomenon. And we have our sisters that are making incredible moves, all throughout just industries. But it is a special moment to go up in Meow and Barks. And every so often you may catch a Al Pete spinning, So
I know, right?
Y'all embody hip hop to the fullest. So I have to give y'all props on that.
Indeed,
thank you.
Indeed.
And just a small note, Al Pete did our grand opening here in San Marco, and then we moved to Townsend. I was like, we got to bring Al Pete. So Al Pete is like everything to us as far as he's like our top DJ here in Jacksonville. But even outside of Jacksonville, I'm always talking about Al Pete. Even in conversations with Marcellus, your name is always coming up. So you're the top of the top, Pete.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate I appreciate the words and everything all in between. Yes. Y'all got me over here grinning. So, but let's get into it.
If I could talk to the young me, it's probably like one of my all-time songs. Like I still listen to that album. Like you're phenomenal from a DJ perspective, from an artist perspective. Like so much respect for you. I think you could play in any arena. You could rock any party. You could rock any stage. Like you're just phenomenal. So we need to give you a little bit of credit too for all you're bringing to the Jacksonville scene and how you're uplifting the hip hop culture here as well.
Lordy, listen,
Smile and say thank you.
Thank y'all so much, man. I'll cry in the car. I'll cry in the car, but I be trying my best to do what I do over here, man. So, but without further ado, let's get into these questions, into this conversation. So, which savage archetype are you, and how does this reflect in your rap music preference? Anyone can go first.
I'll go first with that one. I think for me, I'm a Pitbull and I'm all about mastering things. I'm all about being laser focused, especially when I go into work. So the way it influences me is I like to get some Starbucks and I like some trap music on the way to work. So that's almost like 2 shots of caffeine. Because when I'm listening to trap lyrics and it's talking about hustle, ambition, resilience, and overcoming, obstacles, that gets me pumped. And I mean, who doesn't love a beat? Like, I think that's ancestral for us. Like a beat moves you literally and figuratively, right? So it gets me pumped to go in and do things to get on my grind and make my day successful. So that's how I always like to start. So yeah, I'm a lover of some trap music on the way to work because, again, it keeps me grounded culturally as I'm going in to deal with this diversity in the workplace and having to tune down a little bit of who I am to kind of blend in.
All right. Traci. I'm a pit bull. I came in as a pit bull, but I was saying I think I'm more of a hustler, but I'm definitely with Merdice. I want to whip up some work, and that work being dresses and clothing for my customers. So I just think listening to that down south hip hop has always got me ready for my day, and to tear into some things and make some things happen.
Yeah, I said in the previous segment, I'm definitely a pit bull, so I align with Traci and Merdice. And for me, with hip hop, which is everything to me, hip hop and basketball are right there in terms of sources that have raised me. But I love within hip hop the epic apex breakthrough energy. So an example would be Meek Mill's, Dreams and Nightmares. It's probably one of the go-tos, that you may pull out, Al P, when you transitioning into just another level of energy. But I remember listening to that mixtape, or I think it was the album when it dropped, and it was the first song, and I was like, man, this is a cool joint. It's kind of going in, and by the time it turned into, hold up, wait a minute, y'all know that was like, it's over. So I love them. Like hip hop knows how to go there, and it that is the breakthrough energy, I think, to kind of do any and everything. So as a pit bull, you're looking for this, like, I just need that extra, battery in my back to just go get it. And hip hop, in those moments, a lot of times they say Oscars are won off of not just a movie, but a moment. Leonardo DiCaprio wrestling a bear, or Jennifer Hudson singing "You Gonna Love Me." It's that moment that takes you. And they say, life is full of years that mean nothing and moments that mean it all. And hip hop will give you a moment, definitely, in music.
It's funny that you say that, Marcellus, for me, because it's a little baby, all in. And like that song that says, my mama told me don't get no poor performance. Like that's me. Like that is my line. So yeah, certain songs resonate with me like that as well. And that Meek Mill song, I don't care what party you're in, if that song comes on, everybody in the place knows the lyrics and they're waiting for the beat to drop. So yeah, that's always a moment to see that too.
Gotcha. Well, for me, I would say Pitbull. In my readings, when I was telling you, Marcellus, that I was focused more so on the Pitbull section of the book, but one of the words that stuck out to me was mental. So when I thought about mental, whatever, and I'm thinking about hip hop, I immediately go to like like Nas, Kendrick Lamar, that type of stuff. That's what energizes me. That type of target action or whatever. Just having full purpose and trying to. It just seems all mental to them, and I just love like that mental action. Just really getting in your thoughts, getting in the darkness, sitting in the dark, and just really letting everything be clear and sound. So that's my angle on that part. And I kind of answered my next question, which was, what hip hop artist has the greatest impact on your life, and what type of savage are they? So I essentially answered that part, but that's the next question that I have that I want to ask y'all. I thought about Outkast in my mind, but I'm gonna just continue the conversation. I'm sure Outkast gonna come up at some point, but my 2 point of references now is Nas and Kendrick Lamar. So who are y'all favorite? What artist has the greatest impact on each one of y'all's lives?
Honestly, I would have to say Tupac. And I think he has definitely influenced Kendrick. I think Kendrick has even admitted to that. And I love Kendrick at this point. Like, he's a whole movement. He has us out there. But I think, as you know, Tupac was a very complex person. He was, feminist sometimes in his lyrics. And then there were moments of misogyny. He was complex. He was a radical. He loved his mama. I mean, he represented the complexity that exists in our society. And he was a voice for us for a very long time. Like, I had even forgotten that he died at 25. To be so impactful and not having lived just 25 years is just amazing. So I think he mirrored what we are as a culture, very complex, many sides to us. So I think that is a person that resonates with me. And then I think today I love, again, Kendrick and his movement. I love his lyrics. Number one, they are very thought-provoking. I like to see him on that stage. The Super Bowl was like a movement for me. That was just amazing to see. And if I had to say somebody else, I'm going to give you Outkast too. Because I went to see them at that last show that they did in Charlotte. And we somehow got either rained out or there was some sort of traffic jam, but we totally missed them. And I'm waiting for that to come back again. But when we were young, they were just so different than that New York sound and feel. It was us. It was, the South got something to say. So like that resonated with us. And I think they were very transformative from a hip hop perspective, bringing it to the South and giving us a voice.
So would you think, which archetype would you put Outkast in?
I would say Outkast were more about, I think they were more about dominating and about being masterful in their craft. I don't see them as guys who chase money and fame necessarily. I saw them as, focused on a goal, focused on moving the music forward. That was what they always talked about. So to me, kind of being laser focused on elevating hip hop in the South and giving it a global, not just a national, but a global feel. So that's what I would say for them.
Gotcha. Traci, who you got?
I got Tupac. Sister energy going on. I think Tupac was just something different. When he said you got money for wars but can't feed the poor, I was like, wait a minute. At that time, I was used to rappers telling us a story, either about the past or what our future looked like, giving us ideas of what to do when we party. For me, I was into the fame raps. I wanted that New York Mace, that Diddy style. I wanted to rock the furs and the Chanel like Lil' Kim, but when you have someone as real as Tupac come in and give us like words of the now and plant those seeds. And I think that's the reason why he continues to play to this day. It's because like the truth lasts forever. So he just totally caught me off guard. He created like another thinking tab in my mind for me when it came to hip hop. Like I wanted to hear that more. When at one point, all I wanted to hear was, I think down south, of course, we had Trick Daddy. Trick Daddy has one of those Meek Mill songs out there that everybody stops when they hear it. So, I was like a down south girl. I really love like down south music and I like that New York music. I really wasn't into like the deep south. So when I had Tupac come up and from his voice, I couldn't tell where he was from. So that totally threw me. Like I remember looking up to see where this guy was from, and they were like from Baltimore, but then from Oakland. And I'm like, it's two different sides. I can't tell, from his voice, I don't get an accent. So it was just like an open tab to dig and to find out like who this guy or who he was sent to be. And just to look and see who he became is a big thing.
Indeed. Marcellus, you wanna pick a question to ask next?
And props Tupac for me. Y'all bodied the Tupac there. And Tupac, his last interview, and he was probably the first artist whose interviews were just as strong, if not in some cases stronger than even some of the music. And so I remember that we're living in a day now where you're catching most of these artists with interviews and podcasts and a lot of different things just as much as their music. But he kicked off a persona and really, I'm just going to say, a Black Messiah story. Like his entire story embodies a Black Messiah. And I remember his last interview, he was like, we need a hip hop political party. And I was just like, man, he was just such a revolutionary, unapologetic. And he had that fire, which was a gift and a curse, and that's kind of savage related. But he also had the heart for the people. And I don't think anything has compared since. I think maybe a 50 Cent on the fiery energy, and fearlessness, a Kendrick, with, having the heart of the people and having a revolutionary spirit, but nothing compared to Tupac. But I do remember there were certain artists when I was younger, just off of hip hop being a skill set. So being from Chicago, Twista, it'd be like, man, who raps that fast? And he would be saying stuff. So I would be like, man, the rest of the nation don't catch up with Twista, but man, he'd be dropping something. But it was a skill set. When people be like back in the day, oh, rap isn't a skill. I'd be like, okay, well, have Frankie Beverly and Maze do that. I don't rap that fast. Like, but I remember Busta Rhymes when he first came, it was just like, man, he's just, whoo. I remember there was Busta dropped the album the same time Tupac dropped one. I think it was All Eyes on Me for Tupac. Busta had to come in. And I was going back and forth with both of those things. And Busta just had so much superstardom, just ferociousness, with everything. And that back during that era, especially like 90s, hip hop was a skill set. It was like, you got to be able to grab that mic and body something, battle something, so that there. But in terms of another question, what savage archetype? And once again, you got a hustler that's on that money. You got the pimp that's the power game. And honestly, I put Tupac. He's a Pitbull, but he understood power. The way he was moving, the way he was battling, the way that he was challenging the system. That brother was going for revolution, liberation, for real. So I put him in that power category. That's what the pimp is. The stripper is superstardom, status, and then Pitbull's results. But which one do you think, when you think of rap game as a whole and its overall influence, which one do they fall more so into? Which one does the rap game? Is rap game more of a hustler energy, get that money? Is rap game more of a power, like get on top, control, and liberate? Or is it, more so status, superstardom, turn up, VIP, swagged out? Or is it, we're going to make it happen, we're going to get it out the mud?
I think it's hustler. I think it's all about get money, especially now. It's all about get money, and you got to think about it. I ain't trying to tell nobody ages on here, but like back in the day, people weren't making as enormous amount of money and had opportunities to make that amount of money in such a quick time. So I think that mentality just kind of poured over once, technology and the world just started shifting and changing. So it's almost like get in, get your dough, and get out. So I feel like it's definitely on a hustler tip for sure. I mean, all aspects shine in each, in certain ways, but it's all hustling for me.
I think now it's about money too now. Some of the songs are so short. It's just for you to stream them over and over again. So it's like we get a chorus, one verse, and they're out. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? Okay, well, put it on repeat. Let me, so it's like we went from 3 and 4 minute songs to now it's like a minute and a half, 2 minutes. And it's like, what's going on? So streaming definitely is all about the money.
Yeah.
Merdice, what you think?
I think it's money. I think ultimately they love the fame, but that fame is not going to come until that money starts flowing, right? Because the culture likes to see the chains. They like to see you in the floor seats at the Knicks game. They like to see you, on the concert stage. They like to see you boarding a private jet, but that all comes when the money starts to flow. So I think initially the goal is to get the money, and the fame and the power and all of that will come. But definitely these boys start out wanting to make the money. And that's understandable because some of them are coming from very humble beginnings and this is their way out. They got to buy their mama a house,
Yep.
And I would just add on to that because I agree with the hustler energy. That is hip hop all day, every day. In a way that the genre was transformed in any genre before. But there's always a gift and a curse to that. It's some amazing things when you're pursuing, huge goals and, money along with it. But then there's been some dumb stuff and some reckless things that we've seen happen in our community around, trying to come up and get over, scamming, all of that. But if you think of as a culture where we came from and what things we had to overcome in this country, slavery, and what was that done for? That was economic profits and exploiting, our people, our ancestors. Jim Crow, which was trying to create so many other advantages for outside of our community, for our demise. Then after that, it was, our community's been infiltrated with drugs. So that was the first time a lot of people were finding ways to make money because they were flooding our communities with these drugs and making us destroy our communities in the same token. But it was for the money and the dollar. And then it was this mass incarceration, which we found the privatization of prisons, which is a for-profit, system as well. And everything that's been done, and we look at it and we can say, man, there's some horrible people that have been against us, but it's been for money. So it's a gift and it's a curse. And I think it's something that we can always unpack and process and find a higher vibration out of it. But it was our culture hip hop culture is what you expect us to do with, putting us in here in these ghettos, fighting, to try to survive. We gonna go get it. And if we find out a way to grab this microphone, and give y'all a story or an experience or aspiration, we gonna go get it. So there's a savage energy to that, but there's another breakthrough. And I know there's always beautiful times when we can pivot to something that's higher, and we look for that, too. So yeah, but it's some hustler going on.
Definitely. You got another question you want to throw out, Marcellus, or you want me to?
I'll ask. I'm interested in this. How interested have you all been in there's always been a battle element when we think of, that Pitbull energy, that's kind of battle. And if we think of the three classic battles that come to mind, how did you all feel when they happened? And if there was a certain energy that prevailed, why was that? So we'll take the latest one that, just put the world on pause. I think that was an insane moment. I didn't think there would be a battle bigger than Jay-Z and Oz's that we can get into, but Kendrick versus Drake wasn't. I think Traci, we even had connected at some point. Man, what's going on? I'm in my 15-year-old bag. Tupac said this about Biggie. So how did y'all feel with that? How the way the Kendrick and Drake battle played out? Break down what energy prevailed in that, and how did you all how was that experience for you all?
I can tell you my thoughts. Oh, go on, Traci.
Oh, go, Merch, you got this. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, to me, that was some finish him type energy. That was dominate, leave him on the ground bloody. Because I was please, God, give Drake a little bit of grace and mercy in this battle. Let this man at least have a little bit of a career left. Right? He got a family to feed. But man, that Super Bowl performance, everybody talked about the one line when he's looking directly at the camera. That was definitely some dominate and finished type energy. Like he is done when I'm done with him, is what I was getting from that. And I can't blame it. Like that's what battle rap is all about. But that one was off the rails though. That one went a little farther than some of the other ones. Yeah.
It did. I remember when Kendrick had like those first two songs, I was like, oh Lord, what are we doing here? And then when he came so I'm the only one that was like Drake winning, especially when Drake released that video and they were riding in the minivan. I was like, oh Lord, he done took Kendrick's van, plus he got Kendrick in the van. But for Kendrick to come back when I'm there like not like us, was phenomenal. But I do believe he had to tap into like Tupac. He had to tap into, like, would you agree, Marcellus? He went dark. And he didn't tap into his darkness. He tapped into the darkness of others. So normally I'm always telling people, like, if you want to go somewhere you've never been, you have to connect. And they often ask, like, what do I connect with? Connect with who you want to be. Connect what you've seen has already existed and bring it back. Because if it's already here, it can be here again. So when he came and represented Tupac, and then when he took us to the past and gave the rundown of how Drake just kind of slutted himself out in Atlanta with all of the rappers there, it was like he gave us the visuals and the history. No, we don't want him as our king of rap. You know, we how dare could we have someone that have colonized our people again as the king of rap? So I think that last song when Kendrick came in with the history and he connected with Tupac and came and slayed Drake, I think it was just over from that point. So, and then other battle raps, we've heard, like, sometimes we hear about the past with Jay-Z and Nas. It was the girl, the baby mom. With Tupac and Biggie, it was Faith, the wife. But with those, Tupac had already hit it with Faith. So when Jay-Z came with Nas, like, oh, I was with your baby mom, it's like, okay, we've heard that before. You know, but we've never had anyone to come in and give like a visual of like the past of them actually taking our culture away from us, which is something I feel like will never happen with hip hop because we are still in it. But just to get that visual, I think that part of that song is what laid Drake out. Like, he will never be the king of rap. And it feels good to have an all-black man as our king. Okay, I'm done.
No, I do still, from time to time, okay, who's calling my phone?
Black mama and a black daddy. Let's square up in this thing now.
Now, I'm still feeling Drake now. Baby girl, let me see you do your dance, okay? All right?
Now, this is where it's a fork in the road because Merdice with Drake, and I'm rooting for everybody black, all black.
And light skins can be all black too. So I'm on 100% all black team. So I don't want to get it twisted.
Do you not see? I am 100% all black.
Oh man, that was a good dialogue. That was a good dialogue. Yeah, man. That K Dot and Drake was, well, as everybody says, what, diabolical. It was crazy, but I just love the energy that K Dot stepped in when he handled business or whatever. Drake, I mean, I ain't gonna take nothing too much away from Drake. Well, I mean, I'll take something from Drake, but like Drake did what he did. Both of them kind of stepped in that spirit, but I think strategically Drake just wasn't sharp enough. K Dot went to a whole nother type of world, and like he spazzed out. That was definitely Pitbull mentality right there with K Dot. Like, he was like, look, this is the target, and I'm hitting the target straight on, and I'm hitting everything around it. I mean, evidence of that was like the third verse. I mean, we can go back before the battle when he did the control verse, when he started naming all them rappers. Like, he was already on that target and hitting everything around him. Yeah, so but like Tupac, and it had references there, but I think that K Dot and it just it's over the top for me. Like, I thought Jay-Z and Nas was like that. And I think a lot of people don't want to consider Tupac and Biggie because of what happened, like the outcome of it. So I think it just kind of stands there in hip hop alone, in the hip hop history. But when you have something like Jay-Z and Nas, that would just I'm always gonna ride with Nas on that he won. But Tracy, what?
I thought you loved Nas, Tracy.
I do. I'm saying Nas. That was like a cute little thing.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say because
I don't know Nas won that.
Nas did win that.
He won that. For women, I'm gonna tell you how he won it, LP. Because women, we surface, we not all mental, and sometimes depending on the song. But when he was like, "You're ugly," when he called Jay-Z ugly, we was like, "Wait a minute." Jay-Z didn't tell us he was ugly. Biggie told us he was fat and ugly, but Jay-Z didn't tell us he's ugly. And now you're saying he's ugly and he looks like a camel, and we were just like, once again, we can't go with him and he's ugly. Bye, we're out. Nas is the winner with his good looking self.
Yo, that line, that JJ Evans line was very profound, yo.
You know what? And that's a funny Nas story. You gotta let me know if I have permission to share that, Tracy. But if I get permission to share that, like with Nas, we didn't know he had that in him. And Jay-Z was going on some Savage Matrix stuff. He was going for that pimp power. Like, I'm about to own the game. I'm going to remove the only other person that could be considered the king of New York. Mm-hmm. And Jay-Z had been setting himself up for that. He'd be like, if I ain't better than Big, I'm the closest one. I'd be like, man, that's your guy. Why you say that about your guy when he not? But he was going for he's very calculated. So he is the supreme hustler in that way. But Nas had that Pitbull energy. And that's what we found in Kendrick too. Like, I didn't know Kendrick had it. I thought J. Cole at first, I'm like, this is the battle rapper. This is the dude. If it's going to be all battle, he got the bars. He had been slaying verses and features the whole year. So I was like, I was like, wow, he didn't have that in him. And then it became a Kendrick versus Drake. But the Pitbull prevailed. It was who's willing to persevere. And that's what the art of war is. Like, who's willing to keep going and keep going. They are quit proof. They don't have that in them. And when Drake dropped what I thought was his hardest joint, I was like, that's what I've been waiting for, Drake. That's what, you got bars. When he dropped that joint, and then 15 minutes later, Kendrick dropped Meet the Grams. I was like, damn. I mean, I know as a former battle rapper, you have stuff in the arsenal, in the tank. You're waiting for it. You're like, if he does this, I'm going to hit him with this. If he does this one, I'm going to hit him with that. If he talk about my family, I'm going to hit him with his family. If he talk about I said, damn, like he could be going on now if he wanted to. And if Drake was still responding, that's a different type of beast mode. Drake he's a supreme master around kind of like building his career, money. So he was like, man, let me jab a little bit and then let me get back to my bag. He kept saying like, this is my last one. I'm getting back to the music. Kendrick was like, nah, we in this ring and I'm going to keep putting this elbow on your face, man, stomping, and trying to obliterate you. And that's something that people sleep on when they think that, you got a Nas type of stoic vibe and think that they don't have that in them. Merdice, you even talked about 3000. I know 3 Stacks has that in him. If somebody ever tried 3 Stacks and they think, oh, he dressed different and like they don't get that dude will come through and guillotine, your whole situation. So I think in them battles, people got to know if they got it in them, because that's what war is. It's like it's going until the obliteration of you or I. Those Nas and Kendrick had that, and I think that's a lesson.
Yeah.
That JJ Evans line. That's I'm when I get off this call, I'm gonna listen to it, y'all.
Me too.
Like, wait, he was ugly. No one told us he was ugly. We thought he was cute. I don't know. Whatever.
I mean, it's been a whole. Listen, the whole hip hop world have been questioning Jay-Z's looks. Like ever since then, there's like, they look at him and think about Joe Camel, man. Like Joe Camel, right, JJ Evans, whoever.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has said a secret prayer when Beyonce's pregnant. Like, please God. like her. Like, it is what it is. We do. So yeah.
Wow.
He's very strong. He's very strong in the faces.
it is J's, yes.
My parents would call it.
But Jay is that dude.
Look, don't put my mom and dad in this.
Money and power makes him attractive. Yeah. So a lot of women.
When it's all said and done, even with Tupac, who's our favorite, obviously, and got the revolutionary power, Jay-Z may have, if we say that rap is kind of more on that hustler, he helped to kind of take that to another level. I think he's the only rapper right now that is a billionaire. That brother took that game somewhere. And so it's,
which is why
mm-hmm. Go ahead, Traci. You about to hit Jay with something slick.
No, I was just saying, do you think he would be a billionaire if Beyonce wasn't his wife? I wanted to know, and I didn't mean to cut you off. That's
a good question.
I think Jay, I mean, that's definitely a power couple. Beyonce's on her way. She should be a billionaire before the end of the year. I think she should have been one, but that's why she's doing these shows and breaking records, because she's like, she's going to touch $1 billion, I think, before the end of 2025. But Jay had that in him. Jay was moving. Jay strategically, connected with her because that's going to make them a power couple. So absolutely, he got a queen behind him. And same way Barack achieved some greatness, and surely with Michelle, you can't take nothing away from that. And I would say the same for Beyonce. So Beyonce winning that her first Grammy of the album of the year, whose husband got up there and said, y'all better show some respect to this woman, because when we come back here next year this time, guess what I want to see? So all of my big brothers, Jay-Z, Nas, 3 Stacks, I admire them dudes so much. They are some powerful brothers, and they got their own separate style, which is cool. So, but yes, Beyonce helped him become a billionaire. Salute to.
No, that was just like a serious question. Like when you think about the fame and the status of Beyonce, and you think about doing business with the husband of someone that's like a great, like I've never heard her code switch. I've never heard her switch her voice. I've never heard stories of her being drunk anywhere. So when you're doing business with someone that comes from that, where it's like they're 100% guaranteed, I'm very sure she leveled up his portfolio and he was able to get in some rooms because of her. But that's the way that it's supposed to be. I just asked that question, not trying to throw shade to Jay-Z, but it was just I asked like for an answer, not like I had one already. I didn't have an answer already.
Well, I would say yes. I mean, definitely when you're looking at him, she's right there with him. She's sitting at that negotiating table, whether she's there physically or not. You know that is a package, regardless, because they're so intertwined at this point. Just like we just were talking about Jay-Z and Beyonce, like it goes together. So if you're looking at him, definitely you're going to get the star power, the fame, the great reputation that comes along with being associated with her as well. Like she's never going to take him down. She's only going to lift his star power and his money and his fame to another level. Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, Beyonce can do no wrong. No wrong. Protect that queen at all costs. And
all costs.
Yeah, for real.
So speaking of which, let's roll into we can do like 2 more questions and then we can wrap it up. So definitely enjoying this conversation. This might need to be a quarterly thing. I don't know. Bring the people in. We just talk about the state of hip hop and all of the things. But speaking on like woman power or whatnot, how would you describe the savage evolution of the top female rappers today?
Ooh.
I think that is about power. I think that is about women defining for themselves how they show up. I think it's them owning their sexual liberation. I think, I was reading about some of them like own their masters. They're starting their own brands. Like they're defining for themselves what they bring to the rap game. They're no longer, beholden to what men think that they can do, right? They're making their own way in this game. And I think they're not a moment anymore. Like they're a mainstay. Like even me, I find myself sometimes saying, it's 7 p.m. Friday, 95 degrees. I ain't got no, and then I say, hey, I'm married, so chill out. But what I'm saying is the influence is undeniable. Like we all listen to those songs. We all sing those anthems, and it all resonates with us because we want to be liberated too. We want to define for ourselves what it means to be successful, what beauty means for us. We want to be conscious, and we also want to be a little street and a little edgy, and they represent all of that. So I love the movement. WAP was a little off-putting, but other than that, I love it. More power to them.
Traci, before you answer, I just want to go on record again to say that I love Glorilla. Glorilla is like every song that comes on for her, I'm like, yes, hush, let it play. Go ahead, Traci.
Yeah, I love Glorilla. I think Megan and Glorilla are my top ones. Megan came in and said, I'm a savage. She's letting us know, like, hey, I'm here. I'm going to take it all. She got with Jay-Z. They fought for her. Merdice talked about her owning her masters, and she got her masters back. And then also, she entered the rap game in school. She recently graduated from Texas Southern. So, we would hear stories. I'm just saying, growing up, when girls were in college, if they wanted to make money, they got on the pole. But this girl was in college, and she wanted to make money, so she got into hip-hop. So it's like that there, like she got into hip hop to make money with her degree and her education. And then when we come to Glorilla, oh my goodness, I love that little girl. I think she's treating the game the way it's supposed to be. I think this is entertainment for her. We are able to see like her life outside of her job. I think rap is a job for her. It's not a lifestyle. So it's a beautiful thing to see. I recently ran over an interview on YouTube, and she was like a big Steelers fan. She went to go meet Mike Tomlin. She took her dad to the game. So when you see her actually enjoying the fruits of her labor, and she's not going with a baby daddy or having to go back in the hood and fight, it's just a beautiful thing. So those smart, educated two right there, I'm following. I'll put some money on them. I'll follow them to the bank.
Doechii too. I love her too.
Doechii, man, Jesus, yeah.
Oh my,
yeah.
So, and she's like that Florida girl. I tell people all the time, there's something different about people from Florida, like because we don't come in with like an Alabama down country slang. Like Doechii, you have no idea like where she's from. You have to look it up. So we are just like, I just love her. And she's going to give them everything they want because she can. She's not just one region with her music. And going back, Merdice saying her being a big music lover, she is indeed a big music lover, and I am too. But with Merdice, I could be with her listening to Michael McDonald. I think the other day you came in, I was on Boy Meets Girl, Star. We'll swing over to some Twisted, Swing Out Sisters, which is from the UK. So there's just something different about this Florida water here and the people here. So I think we're going to get a front row seat to see that with Doechii. The same way we see it with Chad Ocho when he does like his sports commentating. It's not like any other. It's something different. So I'm really excited for her career. But it's that Florida water.
And y'all feel the same way about Sexy Red too?
No, I don't. No, wait a minute. Now I will get it sexy.
Do I like some of the songs? I do a little bit. But
she going home fighting her baby daddy. I can't do that, So, but I wish that she would put time in. Like I would probably say, Glorilla gives us street, right? So she's gonna give me the music to get to work, right? But after she's done, like she's gonna go live a peaceful life and enjoy the fruits of her labor. That's what we're all supposed to do. I don't want to hear about her fighting. I don't want to follow a rapper and she's still in jail, going in and out. So I just want more for her. It would be a beautiful thing for Sexy Red to be Lauryn Hill after hours, where she's trying to instill into her community and the girls that follow her to come up. Like, let's level up from where we are.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
And Sexy Red, the empathy that I would give to her, and when you hear these people's interviews, or even if where you meet one of them and have a conversation. I remember it was a love and hip hop artist. You would just think that they was on some ratchet stuff. That's kind of how they were portrayed, and the TV show. But like, you have a conversation with them, and you find out they got like 7 or 8 businesses that they are monetized, and they got like some sort of business call every 2 hours. Like, they really be on it, and it'd be like, damn, don't nobody see this. I saw a Sexy Red interview. And she was just breaking down how she was in a space in life, not really knowing how to get, like, how do I figure this money game out? I got to get it in. She was trying to do some things, selling, some other, entrepreneurial types of businesses, and fell into music and rode that. And really, we see the superstardom and the ratchetness and all of that, but she like really having meetings about making money. Like, she's doing different ventures. Like, she's looking to explore how to make money on that hustler energy that we said rap is kind of built off of. So it's as a man, as a Black man, I have sisters, I have women I love, that are Black. Like, that's tough to see. And it's like, damn, was it that hard? Is that what women had? And I'm looking at it as a man, because I could say, oh, you know what? Never want my daughter, doing that type of stuff. And what the hell is going on? And I could turn into one of them old grumpy dudes. But I have to look at it self-reflectively and be like, what did we do as men? How much cursing how many B's and H words did we have to say? How much, man, turn this up, man, strip of this, throw the money up, and how much, get with this chick and I want to be with everybody around the world. How much of that did we do to transform this wave of women? And yeah, we've seen it with Lil' Kim and Foxy, but that was also Lauryn Hills and Bahamadia and and even to this day, there's Rhapsodies, but it's like, how do we turn it so that is the way to make money if you want to be in this industry? And even though I could say the system did this and, women got to be held accountable and that's not the only way to pay your tuition. Like, what did we do? What did I do as a Black man? That it was the only way to get your $1 million and secure your $1 million bag. And you have to do that style. That is the blueprint. I think I did something. I think our generation, Pete, and men in general, we did something so that was the response. That was what we produced with the type of energy that we put out there that wasn't always positive. We created a savage for the good and for, the ratchet.
No, listen, I still have conversations with people to this day, and I still be kind of baffled as to why men do the things that they do, or why a man does that, and the third, and like the pain and the things that were inflicted on women. And I'm just still kind of in shock, because I think about myself and I'm like, well, I would never hit a woman. Like, I think about my mom, man. I don't think about my mom, but I still wouldn't hit a woman. Like, I just wouldn't do that. But then I think about, I get all these stories from these women in the industry, outside the industry, and I'm just like, damn, man, like, we the way that women have been portrayed and took through, specifically in this industry, it just like, it baffles me still to this day. And I've been in this industry for a long time and still be thinking like, how, like, why would a man,
right,
don't touch a woman, like touch a woman inappropriately, or like what in his mental think that he can like have this control over this woman and do this like ferocious type of thing or whatever. So I think these conversations are still going to be unpacked, man. And I know for me as a Black man, I try to protect Black women at all costs. But this is before I think about all of the things that we just mentioned. So when I start thinking about all the things that's mentioned, it blows my mind more. So it's just a lot of unpacking that needs to happen with the situation. I mean, we've seen it unfold, fortunately, with with the Diddy case and all these other things. Like, this thing is unpacking our whole like our whole childhood, you know what I'm saying? Our whole 90s or whatever. Like, we go back and think of, like, I saw the interview with Al B. Sure, and I'm just sitting there, like, shaking my head, like, Jesus Christ, like, and it just baffles me. So it's a lot of unpacking that needs to be done, and I let the women rule how they rule this go round. I champion it all day. Like, I don't have no problems with it at all. Like, ladies, get your chips, get your power, get your Pitbull, all that on.
Yeah.
But you were talking about going back into our childhood with Al B. Sure and the situation going on now. But let's talk about the now. Like, Tory Lanez just got stabbed yesterday, and he's in jail for shooting Meg in the foot. You know, so it's wild out here. It's a lot that comes with, I would love to say with hip hop, but I think it's with being Black in general.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's a lot to unpack, man. It's a lot to unpack, but you know, having more of these type of conversations will kind of, I don't know, it will open some eyes and have people feel seen and heard in some capacity, for sure.
And do you all feel like, given the good, the bad, and the ugly of hip hop, is it a net positive or is it a negative? Is it, because I've had this conversation with some where it's like, if you could do it all over again, would there still be hip hop, knowing that it's going to produce the good, the bad, and the ugly, or not? And some people have said, "Nah, do away if we losing, you know, some of our people into the streets, you know, because they're being influenced and these different other elements." But what would you all say?
I would say hip hop
for any entity.
I feel like it was
pluses and minuses. Go on.
No, go ahead, Merdice.
I was just going to say, I think with any entity, there's pluses and minuses. There's no way that I would want to do away with rap music, with hip hop, because it's given so many people a voice, and some of those voices needed to be heard. But I think about how many transformative songs you've heard, how many messages that have really made you think. And I think even some of what we've heard in this music has made us kind of change the course or the trajectory of where we were going in our own lives. Like, I remember Sugar Hill Gang, like that was such I'm aging myself now, but that was such a pivotal moment in my life where I was like, oh, wow, people are talking over music. Like, this is something different. This is something new, and it's Black men. And I was loving it. And I think, you know, we all fell in love with hip hop at some point, and that's a love affair for me that's never going to end. So definitely, I can't see life without it. So I'll take the bad because there's so much good there that's enriching in so many ways. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll take it. I actually think I used to say, like, Black people created hip hop, or African Americans created hip hop. Like, we own that. Like, even from, like, you know, you hear stories where they're like, oh, well, we created country, but it was so long ago, we really can't find out, like, who pioneered. Like, we got papers, we got records on hip hop. You know, no one can erase that history ever, because we're going to continue to stay in it. Right. So, but then when, and I had this conversation with Marcellus when LL Cool J recently released his latest album, and he's at 60 still rapping. I was like, I think hip hop was a gift from God. Like, I think that was a talent that he blessed you with, because everybody can't rap, you know? So digging into that, looking at the ones like, you know, there's an age limit on playing football. There's an age limit on playing basketball, you know? But when it comes to your voice and your talent, and what I'm seeing now in hip hop could be forever. Yeah. LL could be 90 years old, and I'm waiting to see it. Like, we're going to be able to take this thing to the grave, rebirth it, and bring it back. So I'm definitely all for hip hop, good or bad. I mean, in life, you're always going to have some weird patches in history, because it's history where things went left. But I think eventually we'll come back up. I'm hoping that we get some good A&Rs that care about our culture and our music and want to leave a legacy. And I say that to say, if you think about when, Marcellus, you were talking about Busta Rhymes. When you think about the team that was behind Busta Rhymes, visualize them. What they were coming up with with the visuals he was creating for us. You had Hype Williams, you had Coming to America. All of these videos Busta Rhymes was doing, even when he put on the full costume and he was a Caucasian man, right? So visualize what his A&R team looked like, and then think about the A&R team for Sexy Red. It's two different groups of people in your head. So if we can get back to where we're working with people that are legacy building, then I think we can brighten this thing up and come back and have a resurgence.
And in 30 years from now, at Meow and Barks Boutique, there could be a Jiggling Baby 2055 when LL dropped for his 90th birthday. And we come up in that joint in our walkers.
Listen, Jiggling Baby is in one of my playlists.
Literally Kane Wayne
hip-hop
with
playlists.
Kane.
That song slaps even today.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, LL is the greatest of all time. Like when I think about LL, and not to cut anybody off, but when I think about like he did what he was supposed to do with the talent that God blessed us with, right? I never seen LL struggle. LL came out from Queens. He came with the red Kango Bell hat on. He's always been fresh. He's always given us dope lyrics, great visuals. He has never dropped the ball with hip hop. He never sold any drugs. He wasn't pushing any weight, you know. So it's just like when I think of about like the best of the best, who took this and nurtured it and carried it like it was a gift from God, that it meant something. Like LL is the one. I think he never mishandled or fumbled the ball with hip hop.
And let's do remember that, you know, Sirius XM, Rock the Bells Radio, like his business structure for that, you know what I'm saying, giving other hip hop artists, you know, platforms from the old to the new, like just him giving back to the culture in that regards. That's just one of many things that he's done. Speaks, you know, massive volumes on that. So I totally respect the entrepreneurship. Excuse me, the entrepreneurship that hip hop has branded or whatnot. So, and I can say selfishly for me, I know I raised my son off hip hop, off my rap and my DJing. So, like, prove my mom wrong and all. And my mom was not a fan of hip hop, but she understood, like, you know, my son raised my grandson doing things that was in the hip hop culture. You know what I'm saying? So that just being taught all of the things of hip hop, like how to talk to a woman in a great way, the I Need Love and the Sunshine by Lupe Fiasco, like doing those type of conversations, learning how to have swag and being braggadocious, the things that the elements come from, like doing the knowledge, being able to identify with what Black culture is from like what the late 70s to now. You know what I'm saying? We just celebrated 50 years. So yeah, it's so much good within hip hop. I wouldn't want to get rid of it, but I just know for me selfishly, like I tell a lot of people, I raised my son off hip hop, so it's here to stay and it's good. It does some good. If it did me some good, I know it has done millions of people good.
Right. And wasn't I Need Love like the first hip hop love song?
Yeah.
It was. That was my first very album. That I'm Bad was like a classic, for sure. And he's won his battle raps. Like Kumo D, Cannabis. I loved Cannabis too. I was like, damn, I ain't see that going down that way. But I was gonna share really quick that the power of our generation. This is such a dope convo. So LP, appreciate you kind of hosting it. Mm-hmm. We're the first generation. You know, when you talk about, you know, Traci, LP, your sons, you know, I have a son as well, you know, nephew, Merdice, like we're the first generation that listens to the same genre of music that our children do. Like our parents were not listening to hip hop. They were and they weren't listening to blues and jazz the way that, you know, their parents were, you know, in those cases. So it's like we listen to, like, we can have a conversation about Lil Baby and Glorilla and know exactly what's going on. That has never really been the case. And it's going to be the case, you know, where hip hop will probably be the leading genre, you know, for that generation after them. So it speaks to kind of a youthfulness that's still that is really channeling, throughout our generation, and it will continue. But it's also a bond and a connection that we can connect in a way, that our parents' generation couldn't. So to just echo you all's point about, hip hop being more so a value add than not, for sure.
Yeah.
Indeed, indeed. So we want to go through one more question, and we're gonna let everybody get out of here. This has been a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful conversation. Oh man, we could talk about this stuff kind of day in, day out on it, especially when it comes to hip hop. Please make sure you go grab that book. Let me do that shameless plug. The Savage Matrix. Please go grab that book, y'all. Such a good book. Go find out what your architect is. Embrace the darkness. That's one of my favorite parts of the book. Embrace that darkness, man. Let that sit in that dark and let it talk to you, and then pick those characteristics up from each archetype, or just get all of them and be a kingpin around these streets. So please make sure you grab that book and give it to your community, to yourself, all the great things. All right, so Marcellus, you want to give us the last question, or you want me to just? We got two more left. We can do one of them. I like the last one.
Let's see. Okay. What is the ultimate goal rap music should accomplish for our culture? You can take rap music now and have it accomplish something that will elevate our culture. What would it be? And you can even reference like any of these savage archetypes, like we need more of this or that, we need more hustler, more Pitbull results, or more power game, or more, we got our superstardom. Maybe that's our advantage. We just naturally fly. Like you were saying, we naturally, swagged out, and we can take that. But what would you all, what would be the ultimate goal that you want rap music to be able to, the goal that rap music should accomplish for our culture?
I think one of the main ones would be Pitbull to get those results. But I think rap in its entirety is a kingpin, right? Now, there are people in rap that are making things happen. For instance, Jay-Z. He has given back in so many ways. He's doing prison reform. He's doing scholarships. He's sending the kids to school. He's supporting Tamika Mallory and her fight. So Jay-Z is actually doing like the work that the whole rap culture and community should be doing to push us forward. So I just wish that in rap we could separate it and make it a job. And then like Glorilla, where she's rapping, but then once the clock is out, then she is a Black girl that is living her life, enjoying her family, and enjoying the fruits of her labor. So I wish somehow we could separate the two and not allow for rap to consume us our entire life. And especially when you're talking about Young Thug and Lil Durk going to court and they're pulling their lyrics. I thought these lyrics were entertainment. I thought these boys were telling me a story. I thought all of this was fiction. When did rap become so real without? The only time I felt like it was real when it was time to battle. I felt like you were coming with the real then. But outside of that, I listened to get a story, and now you're telling me it could be used against me because everything that I say is real. So I wish we could take rap back and allow for us to just exist in it and not allow, for it to be so real for everyone.
That was beautifully stated. I champion that. Merdice?
Yeah. I think for me, it's one of the key areas in life where we don't have to conform. We don't have to care what anyone thinks. We can say what we want to say. It's our voice and how we define it. And I think to be able to have the power, Marcellus, speaking to your book, the power of self-definition, and to say, I'm going to define myself on my own terms, regardless of what you think, regardless of how you perceive it, and whether or not you even accept it. To me, I think that's almost a little bit revolutionary. And I think we need more of that. We need more avenues where we're free to be who we want to be, where we can embrace our joy, no matter how that looks, no matter, if it doesn't fall into your perfect package of what you think culturally we should represent. These young people, these rap artists, these older rap artists, they all have a voice, and they're defining themselves on their own terms. So that's one thing I love about it. And I appreciate that's what it gives. Even though I might not like Sexy Red, she still is defining who she is on her terms. And I'm happy for her from that perspective.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, LP, going to tell your mom, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm raising my son on rap music. I'm following my dreams. I'm making space in my life to still have a voice in this realm, and I'm still doing what I want to do. Like, to me, I that's the part I love about it. Is it's one time we don't have to be what they want us to be. We get to decide what we represent in our music, and I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get too radical.
But it's a little rough. I know what you're saying, but it's a little rough when you have girls making rap songs their life. You see what I'm saying? So if we had more of and I know the Sexy Red songs. I know Bow Bow Bow. I know all the songs, right? Because I'm vibing with her. But I'm not taking on her lifestyle. I'm not going to, talk foul. Every word is about, personal parts and things of that nature. So I just wish she, be free in rap, but outside of rap, show us something of substance. And Marcellus, you are correct. I did see an interview where she was doing like a beauty cosmetic line, which I understand making the money, but still you have a responsibility out here just to instill into the youth. So share those things more, so we just don't have a whole bunch of girls feeling like it's okay to be Sexy Red 24/7 in their life.
Yeah. Are we going to debate rap artists raising our kids? But I'm going to let that go. But I think if she presented herself in any other way, she's not authentic to herself. I think that's her true self. And I think there's still some power in that, regardless of how it's perceived by us. I mean,
I think when we thinking about, I think when in your, both points I definitely highly respect it. But when I think about Merdice, your point, I do think about the bigger picture. I think about what is this beyond hip hop and the things that we face. You know what I'm saying? When we thinking about the social injustice, racism, and all when we talk about that angle of it, that power definitely needs to exist. Where we need to be like free to be what we do, because I'm not saying we code switch, but we do kind of pause when it comes to certain things when we're talking about when they're in that element, and at the same time too, when we're thinking about entrepreneurship and ownership, you know what I'm saying? These people own these things. They have the liberties to do that. So we do need that massive amount of power to exist so we can be able to exist. But I do like the kingpin action as well. I like the kingpin perspective too, but like that power part, I definitely understand that. And I mean, listen, and I'm not, listen, Mom, I love you. If you listen to this, I love you. But I don't want to make it seem like I'm bashing my mom, but there are other issues outside of the house that is like stopping people from being the true people that they are, that can have an influence on others to come and others that are even in existence. So I side with both of y'all, with Traci and Merdice, what y'all saying. Both of them was beautifully stated.
Yeah, I thought we were on the same. Me and Merdice was on the same. It was no debating there.
Weak.
I share as a alternate perspective. To someone shared this with me, and it touched me in a way where I was like, wow. They mentioned that when you hip hop, at some point, hip hop music and powers that be Because we remember at a certain point, it was a variety of music. You know, you had your Public Enemy, and you had, you know, some Paris One type energy, and then you had Bahamadia, and then you had, some NWA, and you had, you know, Too Short, and you had, so it was a variety. You know what I'm saying? Now it's probably not as much of a variety. In the way that is distributed or promoted, but someone shared with me, they were like, you know what, when you think of the music that we're like, man, that might be too much. It's just excessive killing and drug dealing, and it's
Mhm.
like, whose fantasy is that? Because this entertainment is about sharing not just stories but fantasies. That was not a black person's fantasy to like murder, murder, murder. You know, all the high artillery, gunpowder, shoot them up, shoot them up, shoot them up, and us shooting ourselves up. That was not our fantasy. They were saying that was a white teenager's fantasy. When they thought about the hood and gang banging, that's what they see. And so that was music that was selected to be programmed and promoted for the world to see, because at that time and even now they accounted for like 80% of hip hop sales, even though we created and we champion it and we give it the power that it has. When it comes to a lot of these concert tickets, and when it came to CDs, when they were sold, or even streams to this day, a lot of who's paying a subscription for, Apple Music and Tidal and Spotify. Like when you think of, where the money is going, a lot of it is still centered towards, this other community. And if you think about the women's side, it's like, whose fantasy? You can go to two different types of clubs. You can go, let's say, a strip club, and it's like, in a black strip club, that's not I mean, people kind of cool and chill. It ain't overly rah 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 with that. That other extra stuff is normally in some other type of, clubs. And it's like, wow, y'all. I remember I was 19 working somewhere, and the people twice my age were like, yeah, we're going here, we're going to get you in there. And they were they were not black people. And I was like, y'all are savages. And not the way that I'm writing about it in this book, but y'all was wilding. I've never seen nobody wilding. These dudes was on some doctor, lawyer type stuff, like in their 50s, but they was wilding. And I'm like, oh, that's y'all fantasy. And more so, that's y'all kids' fantasy, because they know y'all step out and do that. So that was a white teenager's fantasy, to see women, black women particularly, in that way, and black men shoot 'em up, dope boy till you die. That was their fantasy, and that was overly programmed. So they shared that to say we may not have been given a chance to know exactly what we want. And it might look a little Sexy Reddish, or it might look a little more Lauryn Hillish, but whatever that was, we were never given an opportunity to own a platform and distribute and promote the way that, unfortunately, Diddy was trying to do with Revolt in some way. Bill Cosby may have wanted to continue a Cosby Show type of, when he was going to pursue buying NBC. But if that wasn't the case, maybe we would see a little more opera. Maybe we would hear a little more Lauryn Hill element, like, but we don't know. It's almost like the food that we eat. It's not until Merdice, you travel, and Traci, you travel, internationally. There's all different types of lifestyles, food, experiences, parties can be totally different. And it's like, wow, what were we really doing before we were brought here? Or what were we really on track, and what do we really want if we weren't programmed and we weren't just forced to say, yeah, I rock with this or rock with that, because that was somebody else's fantasy, and they built a program off of our talent to feed their fetishes. But what would we want? And it made me think, like, dang, somebody was like, you might love opera, like Leontine Price opera, but you were never given that ability, to tap into that. So it made me just think. I think everything happens for a reason. I think hip hop is the most incredible genre ever. There's no level, like you said, murder, self-expression, self-empowerment, and a sense of urgency to get things moving and jumping. But yeah, is there a transformation, and is there this other purified utopia to hip hop that we might not even have a clue? It's powerful now, and so my one, if there was a suggestion I would throw in there, be these other communities have like media coalition groups. You can't just put up the ratchetness of the Latinas. Like, they have a Hispanic media coalition that says we will help control what goes on certain, on media platforms or not. And they own some, and they have their own language, where it's like, you got to really come through us and speak our language before you even get to advertise, on our platform. We don't have some of that. Like, and so, but if we had a media coalition and it was like, you got a Jay-Z and Beyonce, but then you got a Killer Mike and David Banner, and you got to, bring Lauryn Hill back in the mix and any other type of power players. And it's like, we're going to help rediscover this utopia intentionally. And it could be something. I know that, but that goes back to unity. I know sometimes we have a challenge with that. We have a lot of kingpins. Sometimes that's a gift and a curse, in terms of working together. But I think that's why when we see independent platforms, like we're looking at Meow and Barks Boutique, and that is 100% Black owned. That is 100% what you thought about. The fashions that you pick, and that don't look like every store that we look. I'm seeing some that ain't the Sheen type situations. That ain't no Fashion Nova.
Let them know.
That ain't one or two wears, and then
us.
you out of gas. Like, that is a Black woman that came out of an incredible family, incredible culture, influenced by hip hop, and she had a vision, and that's what you see, and that's what you get. How often are people able to create music and distribute their music in that way? The same way that you put together these fabrics and these fashions and set the trend based on your vision. Like, I wonder how often we get a chance to do that in hip hop. And maybe Sexy Red would sound like Sexy Red. I don't think she's been given 100% be who you are, know who you are, and know that you will be successful, whether you rap about, twerking all your life, or you rap about, like, empowering, the next wave of Tracy's to set up their own businesses. Like, I don't even know if she's given that opportunity. It's like, nah, get Bruno Mars on another joint like yours and keep that same energy. And it's like, damn.
Time. Let me see if it works the second time. So it's like, so you're about to make like a program off of this? This is what you do now, Bruno Mars? Okay. Note taken. I'm very protective about hip hop and rap. I'm all in the culture.
For real. Did it work though? Did he win?
It
Did
worked.
they win?
It worked.
Okay.
It got him. It got when he did it with Cardi, they opened up the Grammys or the American Music Awards with the song, and it's working now with Sexy Red. So I mean, it's working, and he's gonna do it again. He's gonna get the next ratchet girl come in, and they're gonna do a sexual song, and it's gonna be a hit, and it's gonna flood all over, top 100, and he's gonna have it. But I had a problem with that. But anyway, that's just me.
And that's the tough part, because when you're winning and you're getting, they may increase their annual revenue income by like 10 or 20% off of just that song alone, that's going to pay them in perpetuity for the next maybe 20 years plus. It's hard when you're playing that game to be like, all right, we ain't going to do it, because the formula is quote unquote working. It made you way more money. It makes you even more relevant and hotter, more popular. It's like, damn, you got to have such moral integrity to be like, yeah, I could make $20 million off of this, and I'm not going to do it. That's a different type of discipline. And props to you all. You all have platforms. Y'all are in industries where you all could not make the moral, the higher moral decision. But time and time again, I see you all choose that. You protect your brand, Al Pete, with integrity. You protect your brand, Tracy. You protect your professional ascension and elevation with what you do in your industry, Merdice. That's because y'all could be like, you know what? I'm going to get more of this bag over here. Bump the culture. Bump this, holier than thou energy. Like, I'm gonna get it, but it would have an impact. So to not make that decision, I don't think people like you all get enough credit for that. So.
Beautiful,
You're the
beautiful.
Same goes for you.
Indeed. All right. Well, this was a beautiful conversation. We are at the end of it. Oh man, I just appreciate this type of energy. You know, I can sit in this type of energy day in, day out, but you know, life be lifing on that tip. And we have to, you know, deal with the simplicities of people's minds. But these are some great minds that we're talking to right now. So I truly appreciate this conversation with you all three on my platform. Thank you so much. Before we go, please go around the table and let people know where they can find you at, or where not to find you at. You know, protecting yourself.
I'm Traci with Meow and Barks Boutique. You can find us at 1537 San Marco Boulevard in Jacksonville, Florida. Online at meowandbarksboutique.com.
And I'm Merdice Evans, Tracy's sister, and I guess you can find me at Meow and Barks Boutique as well, if you're lucky.
No, but she's one of my biggest supporters. So just thank you, Merdice, so much for always supporting me. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna be at Meow and Barks Boutique as well, getting it in with them sisters. And I'm also going to be trying to travel internationally with them, because you may see them in Dubai, you may see them in South Africa, you may see them pulling up in Paris for Fashion Week. So you may see them there. They move like that, and I'm gonna give y'all credit because a lot of times, me being from up north Chicago, is like, oh, Florida, down south, there's a certain persona or archetype for, you know, down south here and there. You all are so universal, even in y'all energy and wave. Like, without mentioning Florida, like, one couldn't tell Alpete, Merdice, Traci, if y'all said y'all was from LA, be like, yeah, I think so, probably so. If you said New York, if you said Philly, I'd be like, I can see that. If y'all said Chicago, I'd be like, yeah, I see myself in Chicago like that. Like, so y'all have a unit. So that's dope, because I think our greatness and our culture, it breaks through. At this point, it doesn't matter where Kendrick Lamar is from. He's universal. It doesn't matter where Nicki Minaj is from. She
for sure.
is universal. So y'all have done that. But yeah, Savage Matrix. Y'all go to savagematrix.com and grab that. Yeah. Take a test. You can discover which archetype you are. You listening to a bunch of Pitbulls, you know, but you may be a Pitbull, you may be a hustler, or you might be a stripper. Don't be afraid of being a stripper. The stripper is superstar.
Let me go get me a tattoo.
Talented energy.
I wanted to be a stripper.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Like in the book, not
in the book, girl, in the book. But I would like to say, and really quick, Alpie, because I know you have to wrap this up. Marcellus, you were talking about where me and Merdice have traveled. And I would like to say, when I seen the picture of you in the hands of Muhammad Ali, those are hands of the greatest champion ever. We could never travel in those hands. So tell me about some places you've been. Not really, because I know Alpie has to close it down. But that picture, Marcellus, should be on your Instagram. So I'm going to be looking forward tomorrow to be in the hands of Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time. And I quoted him. Me and Marcellus has been friends for a long time. And I talk about Muhammad Ali all the time. And he never told me that Muhammad Ali held him. But that's another thing. I'm zipped up.
That's the kingpin. I could talk about Muhammad Ali for 10 more podcast episodes. I'll spare y'all. But yeah, my dad knew him, and I was like 3 or 4 years old, and he was holding me, you know, in the picture. That was classic memory. I had I studied him. He's Tupac. He's Michael Jordan. I'm trying to think of another personality. Floyd Mayweather. He is all of that combined in his greatest form. Yeah, Malcolm X in there. Like, he, not that I knew him like that, but I've studied him, and he, I'm glad you brought him up there. That is a kingpin. That is a revolutionary, who'll live forever through our culture.
Indeed. Explains the book. You've been held by greatness. You got the book that is greatness as well. I mean, yeah, makes more and more sense as we having these conversations. So, either way,
rumble, young man, rumble, young woman, rumble.
Hey, but listen, I appreciate everybody on this call. Please make sure you follow the NPN Network, the Mighty NPN Network on Instagram, NPN Management. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, Mr. Al Pete. Subscribe to the Neighbors Way. Follow the Neighbors Way as well on Instagram. Listen, everything will be in the captions. Just follow me. Or you can go to npn-llc.com and it will guide you to every last one of the things that I got going on. So thank y'all so much to my guests that were on the show. And listen, thank you for watching. And be good to yourselves and be good to others. In the old Negro words of Wayne Peterson, to the top.